It was exactly 11:45 on a rainy Tuesday night in Chicago. The Red Line subway was almost completely empty, save for the usual late-night crowd looking exhausted and staring blankly into their phones. I was sitting there, nursing a lukewarm coffee, thinking about everything I had to do the next morning, and then she walked in. She wore this oversized vintage denim jacket, completely soaked from the storm outside, and carried a worn-out copy of a book I had read back in college. She sat directly across from me for 3 straight stops. Neither of us said a word. The only sound was the heavy rhythmic thump-thump of the train against the tracks. But then the train suddenly screeched to a halt between stations. The lights flickered and completely died. In the pitch black, I heard a soft, nervous laugh. "Well?" she said, her voice cutting through the dark like a warm blanket. "I guess this is where the horror movie begins." I couldn't help it. I laughed too. I pulled out my phone, clicked the flashlight on, and set it on the floor between us, casting long, dramatic shadows up the wall. For the next 20 minutes, the rest of the world just faded away. We didn't exchange names. We didn't ask what we did for a living. Instead, we talked about our absolute worst childhood haircuts, the best pizza joints in the city, and how the smell of rain always makes you feel a little bit homesick. It felt incredibly easy, like catching up with an old friend, even though we were total strangers. Her smile had this quiet, infectious energy that made me completely forget about my stress, my morning meetings, and the pouring rain. Then, just like that, the power jolted back on, the train gave a violent shudder and began to move again. "Next stop, Fullerton." The intercom blared. She stood up, giving me a soft, lingering look. "This was my stop," she whispered. As she stepped out onto the platform, she turned back just for a sec. "Hey," she called out over the closing doors. "Read chapter 7 again. It gets better." The doors slid shut. The train pulled away into the dark tunnel. I never saw her again, but sometimes when it rains late at night in the city, I look at the empty seat across from me and I just smile.